Mean Streets is Martin Scorsese from 1973. It is not his first film, not his breakout film. His breakout film was Taxi Driver in 1976. But Mean Streets is his precursor to that. I wouldn't call it Scorsese's best film. I just simply think that somebody did better films afterwards, like Raging Bull and Goodfellas. But Mean Streets is definitely his most underrated. A lot of people don't really seem to really get what it's all about. There's not really much of a story that happens in it. Although yeah, the first half of the film, there's really no story to it. It's just a bunch of gangsters in Little Italy just hanging around, causing trouble. And the second half of the film, there actually is a story to it, and that's really the where the good of the movie comes. But the whole movie itself, it's deeply personal to Scorsese because his very first film, which was Who's That Knocking on My Door, which starred Harvey Keitel also. Um, it received good reviews when it came out. I saw I didn't really care for it. And his second film was Boxcar Bertha, which sucked. And apparently, John Cassavetes actually told Martin Scorsese, um, "Congratulations, you just spent over a year making a piece of shit. Make something that you actually know about." Scorsese grew up in New York's Little Italy. He was always hanging around local thugs, and so out came Mean Streets. It's by the looks of the cover alone, you can see that it's a pretty gritty tale, and in the back you can see De Niro and Keitel fighting each other. So yeah, this is a pretty great film, and it's very very realistic. This was fresh off of the success of the first Godfather film from 1972. Differences in The Godfather, the Corleone family and all the other families are millionaires. They're the most powerful family in the country. But in Mean Streets, they're very low standing mobsters. And Keitel, who's the main character, is basically a free agent. Like a lot of the gangsters really like him, and he really takes it upon himself to really do good with everything. And that's really what the whole movie is about. It's about trying to do good, helping others, and paying for your own mistakes the ways that you see fit. And Scorsese does a really good job that way. He grew up a devout Catholic. I'm not sure if his religion has changed, but that's what the Keitel character of Charlie is. He's a devout Catholic who doesn't really like when the priests call his penance to do 10 Hail Marys, 10 Our Fathers, because they're just words. It's not really paying for anything by reciting a couple of prayers. So he wants to really pay for his penance his own way. And he really tries to be a good person his own way too, really by really helping out everyone, by not trying to step on anybody. And it's a really good Keitel's performance. It almost seems like Keitel was the original Scorsese stock actor, but this was Scorsese's first collaboration with Robert De Niro. And there's this one scene. It's sometime after we first see De Niro. They're in a nightclub, and Rolling Stones song "Jumpin' Jack Flash" starts to play, and De Niro walks in. You can see the camera's rolling in on Keitel, and it's really slow on De Niro, and that's pretty much I would say when Scorsese said, "All right, I changed my mind. That's going to be my new leading man." They went on to do like maybe 10 movies together afterwards, and Keitel did a couple more things with Scorsese, but not really a whole lot. And yeah, this was really the start of a beautiful friendship. The movie is really deals with Charlie trying to do right in his own life. His best friend is played by John Boy, who is Robert De Niro. Johnny Boy is he's a he's not even your typical Scorsese crazy man. Probably the most popular Scorsese nutcase would be Joe Pesci in Goodfellas, who is a total nutcase. He explodes at any moment over the littlest things. He's just really deadly. But the difference is Johnny Boy is he's like a little pinball. He just zooms and runs around everywhere. And the first time we see him, he puts a firecracker in a mailbox and just lets it explode just because he wants to. He's on top of a building and he's trying to shoot out lights just because he wants to, and he just laughs at everything. See, even though this crazy Johnny Boy is Charlie's best friend, Charlie really wants to help him out. Their other best friend is Tony, who is the owner of the nightclub where they usually hang out. And so they go on a bunch of expeditions together. They collect debts from people, and they get into fights. Some of it is quite good because the violence that happens, it just explodes out of nowhere. It's really effective that way. The second half of the film is really where the story starts to take place because most of the things in the first half are just shenanigans. So Johnny Boy's antics are getting him hated by just about everyone. There's this low-standing mobster named Michael who is growing really sick and tired of Johnny Boy not paying his debts. And Johnny Boy's been evading him, and Charlie really does his best to keep everything in check. He tries his best to not get to Johnny Boy in any more trouble. He tries to help him pay things off, and Charlie also starts to romance his Johnny Boy's epileptic cousin. Even she hates Johnny Boy, but at the same time, Charlie still wants to do good. He still wants to be like a saintly person. He wants to be the best possible version of himself that he can be. And Johnny Boy seems to be his biggest challenge because Johnny Boy he's a loose cannon. There's really not a whole lot that you can do. He's an accident-prone disaster. He's a psychopath. He can't really reason with people like Johnny Boy. He's a nutcase, and it may seem like it's easy to play a nutcase, but De Niro, he's just so good playing a guy who's crazy, doesn't care about anything else in the world. And of course, you got Scorsese himself, who makes a cameo in the movie, and this is one of his most artistic films to date. When we go into Tony's nightclub, which is also a bar, it's really soaked with red lighting. Now, the red lighting makes it look like we're entering hell. And that's where all the gangsters hang out. It's where a lot of the violence is. It's where a lot of people get drunk and everything. It really is hell. And that's really where most of the action is. And there's times where whenever the violence does just explode out of nowhere, which is really effective. camera gets all shaky, and that's a really good move on his behalf because the shakiness adds to the tension of the already crackling violence that happens in it. So Scorsese really, and also his choice of music, also is something that really goes without saying. I already mentioned the part where Jumpin' Jack Flash is playing during De Niro's entrance. That was a really smart move, and also the "Be My Baby" montage at the very beginning was also really effective. Yeah, this is one of Scorsese's most artistic films, deeply personal to him, and that with some really great acting. If you haven't seen Mean Streets, which I'm sure you haven't, um, I don't think that I don't think most people will find it quite as good as his obvious ones, Goodfellas and Taxi Driver and Raging Bull. But Mean Streets really is it's close behind it. I've always loved watching it. It is a lot of fun. The artistic portion is something that Scorsese is really known for and brings to the table super well. Of course, you got the depth of the characters and how they all relate to each other, and being conveyed through these talented people, including Keitel and De Niro, all of which are very fine. So I yeah, I really dig Mean Streets. It is one of my favorite films from Scorsese. I would say top 10 for sure. One of the best films of its year. One of the best crime films ever. And I hope you all see Mean Streets.